Hi there, today we're going to do an overview of financials on Hemlane and receiving payments. Okay, so once you've set up your Hemlane account and you've got going, or maybe you just want to jump right into Hemlane and start receiving rent, this is what you'll need to focus on. Okay, so the first thing you'll always want to do is make sure your bank accounts are added to Hemlane because you cannot receive money until we know where the money is going. So you'll want to add all the accounts you think you might use, including the bank accounts for different LLCs, accounts you'll want to pay for repairs out of, accounts you want to pay Hemlane out of. Just get those all in there because it does take time to verify sometimes. So the sooner the better, then you're good to go. So just quickly how to do that: you click Add Account, choose bank account or credit card. Make sure you give it a nickname first, like 123 LLC, right? Whatever it is. And then choose bank account for bank account. This connect to bank option, this is the fast way of adding it. If you do this, it'll instantly connect and instantly be verified. Now you just use your online credentials here, online ID and password, and then it'll do some further verification steps and then it's good to go. Or you can do it this manual method, which is kind of the more traditional method. Put in your account holder name, personal or business, routing and account number. Make sure the account number here where you re-enter it is correct, and that'll do it too. Now if you do this, we'll send 2 micro deposits to your account and you'll have to come back into Hemlane and put those in, and it takes up to 2 days for them to arrive. So usually I recommend trying to do the fast method. It is quicker, but some people don't have online banking, so you'll have to do the other method. Okay, so once we got your account set up, we'll go to financials. Now here's a quick overview. So you'll see a number of things. You'll see filtering options and then functions here. So just high level, here you can filter to see transactions on the property level. So this will show everything to do with a property, or you can drill down to the unit. Then you have some more filtering down here. You can view type of transaction, category, who it's from, a reference number. So when Hemlane makes a deposit into your account, there'll be a reference number, and if you just want to quickly see what a transaction that's associated with, come into Hemlane with that reference number, type it in, and it'll bring it up. Okay, so then this will be the results of your filter. Okay, so they're all going to be here, and so you can so we'll just try a few different options here. We'll go complete, and there's all of our complete options. Remember, there's multiple pages. If you don't see your transaction, it could be on a further one. So we'll do another one here, canceled, and all the canceled ones are here. Okay, so moving on. Another quick thing about setting up payments and so forth is we always recommend, if possible, try to have one user do it. The reason is that payments are sort of tagged by person. So if you have 5 different people adding payments and so forth, sometimes it could be a little bit hard to do the tracking. If possible, have an admin account. If you can share the password, that's always the simplest. Allow multiple people to sign in and do the financials. Okay, so now moving on, let's look at how do we actually request a payment. Okay, this is going to be one of the main things you'll do in Hemlane. So we'll go request money. Then we're going to choose which property. Look for the tenant. Okay, so this is our tenant, to, and we're going to choose ourselves, of course. Anyone else who's attached to that property will be able to receive money. Then we're going to say deposit to. So any bank accounts you added, that's why it's important to add all those bank accounts first. They're going to show up here. Then we're going to go next. Then choose the category. Okay, so scroll down. There's other options. If you don't see your category, just choose other. So rent's going to be probably the most common. And then we're going to put a memo. This is a great place if you want to say, for example, like let's say you want to include a pet fee, right? So rent is 1,000, pet fee is 50. So we'll say rent 1,000 and pet fee 50, for example. So you could put a memo here. So your tenant or whoever you're invoicing will see this memo, as part of that invoice. So now we're going to say, is this one time or recurring? So one time, of course, it's just a single invoice, very common for security deposit, or maybe it's a single rent amount, maybe because the first month is 1,050, next month is 1,500 example. Okay, but for rent, you're typically going to do reoccurring. So reoccurring means that we're going to generate that invoice for the time length you've stipulated. Okay, so let's just do reoccurring because you'll probably use that more. So we're going to say frequency, monthly. Your options are monthly or weekly. Monthly is going to be the most common. The due date first is the most common, but you can pick your due date. Select start date. Okay, so it's going to start August 1. You could post date this. And then end date, you could have this end in a year, or what's really common is just cancel upon move out. So that way it just it keeps going. You want to make sure your tenants are always getting an invoice. That if they don't get an invoice, they can't pay the rent. So usually I recommend just leaving it like that. So now we'll go next. So allow partial payments. Okay, so if we turn this on, multiple tenants can pay, or a single person or anyone can just make partial payments. So if this is off, then only one payment can be made for the full amount. So the benefit of that is if, potentially if you're trying to evict someone and they pay $20, that can count as a payment and it can sort of disrupt your eviction process. So, best practice in property management is to basically leave that off and require a lump sum payment. But if you want to enable the tenant to split it up, or if you just want partial payments, you can do that. And then you can decide if you want to allow credit card. So the top option means that the tenant, the payor, this is the tenant, will pay a 3% fee. So the tenant will pay this fee. So if the rent is $1,050, they'll pay, $1,064, whatever it is. You will get the full rent amount. This will not cost you anything. You won't even see anything. You'll get your full amount. The tenant or the payer will be prompted and they'll need to pay that 3%. Keep in mind, ACH is free, so they can still pay by bank account. That's 100% free. 95% of tenants on Hemlane pay with ACH because it's free. This option means that you, the receiver, is going to pay that 3%. Okay? So this means if you're billing $10,050, you're going to receive $10,036 or whatever it is. So you can also just not allow credit card. So the most common thing is to allow credit card but have the tenant pay. Okay, now late fees. This is a really powerful part of Hemlane. So we do automatic late fee invoicing, which means the tenant, if the late fee is activated, meaning they're late, the tenant will have to pay the late fee before they can pay their rent. So it automatically enforces it. So you can choose one time or daily. And then you can say what day it starts on. We'll do daily. This is very commonly used. Then we'll say the initial late fee amount. So we'll say 40. And then after that, there'll be a daily late fee of 10. What's that mean? That means on the 5th day, they're charged 40. And then on day 6, they're charged $10 every day until the maximum is reached. We'll say 200. So, and this will recalculate every day. So if on day 5, they get a late fee of 40. On day 6, that invoice will change to 60 and it'll just change every day until they pay it. They cannot pay the late fee until they pay that. Now you can override that. If a late fee is invoiced, you can go into the system and delete it. So, we give you that flexibility. All right. So this last page will allow you to confirm your payment details. When you're ready, just click request. And that is how you request money, okay, online and offline. Now, we do have request offline, okay? So this is essentially the same thing, but there is, with this option, the tenant cannot pay online. So it's offline only. There's no option for them to pay online. Most customers will do this option. It's better to give even if your tenant says, I'd like to pay offline, do the online method because it doesn't stop them from paying offline. But the nice thing is that at least if they ever change their mind, maybe they ran out of checks or they're in a hurry or they're traveling and they just want to quickly pay online, that option will be there. Now, if you do online, but they pay offline, all that's going to happen is at the beginning of the month, and this will happen no matter what. So once you've created the payment, backing up a bit, what happens is we create an invoice 15 days prior to when it's due, okay? And then it will say incomplete, and then when the tenant pushes the pay button, it'll say in transit. So it'll say in transit. It'll arrive in 3 business days if you're verified. Now, your first payment on Hemlane can take up to 10 business days. That's only your first payment. So once that first payment clears, you are now permanently on 3 business day transfer. That 10-day processing is a security measure to verify your account. So it'll say in transit, it's going to show the due date. So make sure you click this little arrow so you can see the due date. And then we'll deposit that money into your account. Remember, transactions are free, so we don't charge for that. Now, if the tenant does not pay online, why I was saying this is all that's going to happen is that you'll just go, it'll say incomplete because of course they've paid it by check or they've dropped off cash. Then you'll go view, you'll go, what you can do here, if it's incomplete, you can just click on it and you can go offline payment. So this allows you to mark an offline payment. So, let's say 800 was requested. So let's say the tenant's gonna, they dropped off a check today, and we're gonna say the check number 121, and this is now marked as complete. And then we can even upload the check if we'd like to, like an image of it. So you can see the benefit of just doing online. Gives the tenant both options, and you can still go in there and use this as a tracking tool to make sure payments are marked. Okay, perfect. So that's how that works now. So going back, you will get this function here is very useful. A lot of our customers like this. So this will show, you'll want to do this every month. This is all outstanding invoices. So click, it's going to show all your outstanding invoices. So either because the tenants have not paid online or they've paid offline and you haven't tracked it yet. Now, tenants can do automatic payments. Okay. If they've turned on automatic payments, so in their portal, they can say, please pay Hemlane 2 days prior. It'll do that automatically, and you'll see that they've set it up here as well. Okay. Now, jumping back to what reoccurring is, what this is these are all your single transactions. These are your reoccurring invoices. So what this is really is sort of for you to see all your basically reoccurring invoices, as I mentioned. And this is most commonly used for all of your reoccurring invoices for your tenants. So if you have 20 tenants, you will likely have 20 reoccurring invoices. In fact, you want to check. You want to make sure for every tenant you have, you typically are going to want to have a reoccurring invoice, and this is where they're all stored. So these are sort of the settings. Okay, so you have a reoccurring invoice, and then it generates a one-time transaction every month, 15 days prior to when it's due, and then it'll show up here as your one-time transaction. Now, you can change your settings. So once you generate a reoccurring invoice, you can go and change things. You can change the category if you want to, switch that. You can change the bank account it's going to. So if you said when you set up the account, I want to go to ABC Trust, but now you want to go to East Point LLC, you can change that. You can change the terms. Okay, so you can change the amount here. You can change the late fees, and you can change the credit card authorizations. Okay, so again, if maybe rent has changed, it's going up to $1,200, you can change that here. But this will only change future reoccurring invoices that have not been generated. If an invoice has been generated, changing it here will not change it for the outstanding invoice. So this will only change future ones. So you'll need to go to that outstanding invoice and change it. Then you can suspend the request. This is, maybe, I don't know, you're going to sort of not charge the tenant for 2 months. You can suspend it. And you can cancel the request. So just, you're going to take that away. And then you'll see all transaction history. So once we do the reoccurring, all the individual transactions, maybe there's, after a year, there's going to be 12, you're going to see them all here. Now, if you change this and you have an outstanding invoice that's different, so rent has gone from 1,000 to 1,200 and the rent is 1,000, you're going to have to go, you can't change this one, you have to cancel it. The reason is because we've already issued the invoice, we've notified them. We wouldn't want to notify them and say rent is 1,000, then they log in, they see it's 1,200. So that's why that is like that. So going back to financials, you can filter by date. This is really useful. You just want to see all your transactions. for a period, you can download, and you can see all your transactions here. So we're just going to take a quick look and see what that looks like. So the transaction download here will match whatever you filtered. So if you have everything, it'll download everything. If you've done a filter, it'll only show some of it. So this is very granular, more detail, IDs, the amount, the pending amount. This is very commonly used to upload into your accounting software, QuickBooks, or anything else you use. Okay, so you can generate as many of these as you want, and just keep in mind what you download is going to match the filtering here. Okay, and then you can download payments, same thing. So it's going to download and it's going to match whatever you filtered, and that'll give you all those details, which you can again send to your accountant, upload into your accounting software, etc. Alrighty, so moving on. Another thing, just wanted to let you know, when you get paid, you're going to get this is a really great feature a lot of our customers like. So we will send you a daily email summary of all payments that you've received, your batch payments. So, especially at the beginning of the month, on the 2nd, maybe 4 tenants have paid you. You'll get that summary to say, hey, 4 payments are en route. This is what they are. This is the reference ID, etc. So check your email at the beginning of the month. You're going to see those. Perfect. So that basically is an introduction to financials, how that works, how transactions and reoccurring works, how requesting money online and offline works, filtering, and we have a few more videos in financials to talk about some of the other functionality, which please watch those as well. Okay, have a great day. Thank you.